This is the Johor-Singapore Causeway, one of the busiest land border crossings in the world. Every day, over 300,000 people travel between Johor and Singapore for work, business and daily life. But there's something else crossing the border too. Something most people usually don't pay much attention to: water. When you look at the causeway, you can actually see the pipelines. Raw water flows from Johor into Singapore, where it is treated, and some of it is then sent back to Johor. Day and night, millions of gallons move through these pipes, quietly sustaining both sides of the border. The causeway itself also carries other critical utilities, including power and telecommunications links, making it one of the most strategically important connections between the two countries. This water begins its journey in the Johor River and surrounding catchments, especially around Kota Tinggi. The Johor River basin spans over 2,600 square kilometers, making it one of the largest and most important water sources in southern peninsular Malaysia. Water quality is closely monitored along the river, as pollution or contamination upstream could directly affect supply to both Johor and Singapore. At Kota Tinggi, water is drawn from the river and treated at the Johor River waterworks facility. From there, it travels through pipelines across Johor, eventually reaching the Johor-Singapore Causeway. On the Singapore side, the water flows directly into the treatment plants and the national distribution network. This system dates back nearly a century. In the 1920s, Singapore secured access to water from Gunung Pulai in Johor through a 1927 agreement as it rapidly urbanized under British rule. Early pipelines and waterworks were small but crucial. The 1927 agreement was later voided when two new water agreements were signed in 1961 and 1962. The 1961 agreement allowed Singapore to draw water from rivers like Tebrau and Skudai. It lasted 50 years and expired in 2011, after which the infrastructure was returned to Johor in good working condition. Then came the 1962 agreement, still in force today. It is a 99-year agreement set to remain valid until 2061, making it one of the longest-lasting water agreements in the region. Since 1948, over 300 international water agreements have been signed worldwide, showing how countries rely on formal arrangements to secure water resources. The 1962 agreement allows Singapore to draw up to 250 million gallons of raw water per day from the Johor River. In return, Singapore treats the water and sells up to 5 million gallons back to Johor per day, sometimes more, ensuring supply even during droughts or disruptions. Here's an interesting detail. Under the agreement, Singapore pays 3 cents per 1,000 gallons for raw water from Johor and sells treated water back at 50 cents per 1,000 gallons. Treating water locally in Johor would cost roughly 8 ringgit and 17 cents per 1,000 gallons. This means Johor buys back treated water at a fraction of the cost of producing it locally, while Singapore absorbs the infrastructure and treatment costs as part of its national system. It's a unique economic balance that has held for decades. When Singapore separated from Malaysia in 1965, these arrangements were safeguarded under the separation agreement, which was registered with the United Nations under Article 102. Today, they remain in force and will continue until 2061. Singapore also invested directly in Johor's water infrastructure. In the 1990s, under a supplementary agreement, Singapore funded over 300 million Singapore dollar for the construction and operation of the Linggiu Reservoir and Dam, as well as upgrades to the Johor River waterworks near Kota Tinggi. Johor owns the Linggiu Dam and other ancillary permanent works, while Singapore oversees the daily operations to ensure supply reliability for both sides. The scale of this system is enormous. Upstream, the Linggiu Reservoir plays a vital supporting role. It does not supply water directly to Singapore. Instead, it regulates the flow of the Johor River. During dry periods, water is released from the reservoir into Sungai Linggiu, which in turn supports the downstream flow of the Johor River. This helps maintain river levels and prevents seawater from flowing upstream, ensuring a stable supply of raw water. Without this regulation, the river could become saline, threatening the entire water supply. At the same time, Johor treats a significant portion of its own water locally through an extensive network of 47 treatment plants and 724 reservoirs. This ensures that most of its population and industries rely on a secure, homegrown supply. Singapore faces a fundamental challenge. It is a small island with limited natural water sources. Despite decades of investment in water infrastructure, imported water still plays a role in its overall supply. Today, Singapore's 4 national taps strategy includes local catchment water, imported water, new water, and desalination, reducing but not fully eliminating reliance on external sources. Singapore currently uses about 430 million gallons per day. Of this, up to 250 million gallons per day can come from Johor under the agreement, though the actual share has decreased as Singapore relies more on its domestic sources. Johor itself is changing rapidly. Once primarily agricultural, it is now emerging as a major industrial and digital hub. One of the biggest drivers? Data centers. Dozens of facilities backed by billions in investment are being built across Johor, turning it into one of Southeast Asia's fastest growing data center hubs. Many new centers in areas like Serdena and Iskandar Putri are being pushed to adopt air cooling or liquid cooling rather than evaporative cooling to save water. Johor's population is about 4.2 million and its daily water demand is in hundreds of millions of gallons. Under the 1962 agreement, Johor can buy up to 5 million gallons per day of treated water from Singapore. In practice, purchasers have often exceeded this amount.
Johor kini membeli purata 16 juta gallon sehari air terawat, jauh melebihi kadar 5 juta gallon yang diperlukan dalam perjanjian.
But they still represent a relatively small share of Johor's total water demand. Johor is boosting water self-sufficiency with 5 billion ringgit in new reservoirs and treatment plants. Data centers' high water use has led to stricter approvals, project delays, and exploration of desalination and tighter standards to meet the state's growing demand. Singapore gains water security but remains partly dependent. Johor gains investment and infrastructure but faces rising demand and pressure. Both are tied to a fixed agreement. It's not just about water, it's about economics and strategy. By 2061, pressure will grow. Singapore is becoming more self-sufficient, while Johor strengthens supply amid rising demand. With climate and population challenges, the focus shifts from supply to sustainability. These pipelines are easy to overlook, but they connect two nations in ways few people ever see. They carry more than water. They carry history, agreements, dependencies, and decades of planning. And when the agreement ends in 2061, what happens next remains an open question.